Welcome in, Oxford Exxon Podcast here on this Tuesday. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. Talk a good bit about the Auburn Tigers. Auburn hires an athletics director. They fire a head coach. As expected, Lane Kiffin's name popping up in the middle of the first day of that head coach football search that's going on as well. So we'll discuss that, what Lane had to say yesterday to the media, the Monday of Ole Miss's bye week. The Rebels will face Alabama in 11 days, something like that. More than a week, right? 11?
11 days.
Yeah, 11 days.
Yep.
For Ole Miss and Alabama next Saturday in Oxford, a game that is now scheduled for sure at 2:30 on CBS. It was a bit of a free space, but that is the time, the CBS game of the week. So we'll hit all those things and more on the show. A show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Go get the lunch specials. I think it is meatloaf today. Any size fountain drink and bread of your choice as well. Hope all of you had a wonderful Halloween. Probably in a little bit of a sugar high, some of your kids. So, get some hearty, savory
Did you eat any
meal
Halloween
in
candy?
2 pieces. That was it. So, not bad. I'll take that. That's pretty good. I had a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup and I had a Milky Way.
Oh.
Those were the two pieces of candy. I think that's it. I guess there could have been another one, but I think that was it. So.
First time in my life, I completely avoided it.
Not a single
Not
piece.
a single bite.
Helps that your kids are a little older.
It does.
It's not as prevalent
It was
in different ways.
It was in the house.
Yeah.
And then once the kids stopped coming, we got it out of the house.
Oh, did you really?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do?
I told Laura to get it out of the house.
So what'd you do?
I don't know.
Okay. It was not you didn't throw it away, did you?
I'm going to assume she put it somewhere where she could give it away.
Okay.
But I did not watch.
So you have no idea of its location currently?
None.
Okay. The other thing the Oxford Exxon is doing is giving away official Ole Miss game day football jerseys. You can remember, any purchase gives you a chance to win those. Every time you get a purchase, you can sign up that many times there with Blue Sky and the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming to you from Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product he's looking for. He will send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guests will join later in the week on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to stop in, grab a burger, a po' boy, just beer, cocktail, whatever the case may be. They'll have games on this weekend, World Series tonight, tomorrow night, and Thursday night at least. Guess I don't know. I don't know if they lose a travel day because it got rained out. I don't know. Anyway,
It's 3 days in a row.
right, but it was
Yeah.
going to be 3 days in a row, right? Because
Well,
it's 2-3-2.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
So the question is, do they have the travel day back to Houston, or do they stay on schedule?
I think they have the travel day back, and I don't know this. I guess we could look it up and answer this question instead of guessing. But the Athletic this morning said we get 3 straight days of baseball. So I would assume if they were not killing the travel day, we would be getting 5 or 4 straight days of baseball. So
Yeah.
3 would still only be the 3 in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah. Because it's always been 2-3-2,
It didn't get switched to 2-2-1-1-1, did it? It's still 2-3-2.
to my knowledge.
Okay.
I know they want to avoid a Sunday Game 7 where you play your penultimate game and nobody watches.
That's fair.
So anyway,
Okay.
Rafters Music and Food on the Square, and also Rafters in New Albany. Got some stuff up on the site. What he said, what he meant, presented by myperfectfranchise.net. That's up. I wrote a story about Lane Kiffin still a little peeved about Texas A&M's defensive injuries. Wrote that story. There's some notes up on the message board. Nick Broker, Quinshawn Judkins got Player of the Week honors. Also, as Chase just mentioned, the Ole Miss Alabama game set for 2:30. And then Tyler Siskey and I had a McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. Pretty good show. And if you want ghost stories, you got a bunch of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really good.
So the schedule is tonight, Game 3. We knew that. 7:03. Tomorrow, Game 4. Game 5, Thursday. Game 6 Saturday, Game 7 Sunday.
Oof.
Game 7 going off at 7:03 on Sunday night.
What's the NFL Sunday night game?
I'm scared to look for baseball's sake. Like, they really need some Falcons-Panthers right now in their lives. I mean, it needs to be something that
it would almost have to be like Lions-Panthers.
Just where you really don't give two. I mean, what's that date?
That's November the
8th?
No, because November the 8th is a Tuesday.
7th.
6th. Sunday.
Sunday night, sorry. Titans at Chiefs.
Oof. Patrick Mahomes.
That was not what you wanted right there, was it?
No.
I mean, that's not ideal. Oh, the Saints are Monday Night Football next week. God help us all. Speaking of, Roquan Smith traded to the Ravens, so they pick up a linebacker. Saw that yesterday. Just news and notes there. Yeah, I will not be into the grind. The Halloween candy, like after yesterday happens, I really don't have a lot of interest in. Like the season passes, if you will. I got a little frustrated. Frustrated is not the right word. It felt too early, and I know people are going to get annoyed by this that are really into the holiday switching already. Is I got in my car this morning, and I'm not really even sure what station it replaced, but one of my presets in my car for satellite radio had switched over to Country Christmas.
Oh.
And I went, it's November 1st.
That's what we do.
Get 60 days of it, I guess.
Can't make fun of it. I fully anticipate being asked to go up into the attic on Saturday morning.
Oh, already?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a day after Thanksgiving thing.
No. Well, the problem with Thanksgiving, for like in November, next weekend,
obviously busy.
I've got busy. The weekend after that, I'm going to Fayetteville.
Sure.
The weekend after that, God only knows what we're doing.
And is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, I guess
it makes some sense.
Okay. So logistically, but if you're not a huge Thanksgiving person,
but
if you're a straight 9-to-5er without all this going on, you're not getting the tree out this weekend.
Probably not. Look, I live in a house with a person who really likes Christmas decorations. I'm not going to fight her over it.
Well, yeah, sure.
I'm cool, but whatever. I like Christmas decorations too. I mean, I'm not as obsessed with them as she is, but I like them. They're fine. I don't ever look at a Christmas tree and go, I'm not that guy. Whatever. So if putting up the Christmas tree on the first weekend of November makes you happy, go for it. Who am I to judge?
Costco's had decorations out for a few weeks now. I've seen some stuff other places, yeah.
Whatever. I'm cool. Christmas trees make you happy? Put it up.
I guess I should shut up. I'm being told I'm getting Christmas out this weekend. So,
I don't think
it just feels a little early. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
You got to wait to have the most overrated meal of the year to have it. Is that the deal? Yeah. Okay. We did it. Why do we have that meal? Why exactly? Okay, now we're gonna.
It's for family time, Neal. That is what Thanksgiving is for. It is for coming together and being thankful and spending
why don't we
quality.
Grill steaks.
Oh, it's the actual food that we're complaining about.
Well, not even that. It's just we make a big deal about turkey and dressing and the candied sweet potatoes and stuff. And then I'm like, okay, if that's the best meal in the world, then why don't we have it on June the 11th? You don't limit your steak dinner to once a year.
It's a good one. You know what? July 4th, we're having ribs. And that's the only time we're having ribs.
Is the only time you have 4th. Tacos, Cinco de Mayo? Is that it? Is that the only day you do?
No, we like tacos.
That's the only day you have guacamole and queso and all that stuff? Is that the only day?
It'd be a bad business model for the restaurants, then, wouldn't it?
I'm just saying. And I'm fine with it. It's just the whole, we turn it into the, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe my Thanksgiving deal is because I got to go cover a football game that night. Maybe it would be different if I didn't.
look.
Oh, absolutely, Tevin. Brian the turkey. No question about it.
Yeah, don't. That's yes.
That's elementary.
Oh, God.
101. Sure.
I like Thanksgiving food probably more than you do, but you do make a good point. There are very few restaurants that go, you know what, turkey and dressing is on the menu, and that is our entree is going to be. I mean,
walk into a good steakhouse. What are the alternatives? Salmon, maybe.
Some kind of
some
roasted
sort of a
chicken,
some sort of a pasta dish. It's never, hey, would you like to try our turkey and dressing? Nope. Don't hear that. And there's a reason.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I'm fine with it. I'm gonna do a turkey the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay. Family coming, I'll do the turkey. Carson likes ham. I'll probably smoke a ham, do the whole thing. And then I'll look at all of those carbs and all those things and go, meh. So that's all.
Pecan pie, pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie.
Like Carson really likes pumpkin pie, and it's fine. But again, you go to a steakhouse, the desserts that come out are not pumpkin. Would you like pumpkin pie? That's like creme brulee or something like that, right?
Sure.
It's never, hey, would you like pumpkin pie? There's a reason for that.
I'd like to argue with you just for the sake of the podcast, and I'm having a really hard time to do so.
By the way, I had a lot of people give me praise for my pretty woman take yesterday, so I'm not alone.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You did not.
I most certainly did.
No, you didn't. You did not.
I did. My phone was busy.
You said it's the worst movie ever. No one thinks that's not hyperbolic. Come on.
I'll tell you who did.
Okay. We found the one.
My friend Chris Easterling.
Okay.
You know Chris?
No, I don't.
Covers the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
I said,
that's right. Yeah.
love to have you on sometime. He listens to our show.
Yeah.
Chris, if you're
That's
out there, he's probably not. He's probably asleep right now.
Okay.
He said, just let me know when. Be happy to come on. By the way, Pretty Woman sucks. You're 100% right.
You called it the worst movie ever, though. A lot of movies suck.
It's way up there.
A lot of movies suck.
I admitted that it's not as bad as that horrible one about the kid growing up.
Boyhood.
God almighty.
I'm like
wanting to hurt myself.
We have actual stuff going on, so I'm getting off the subject. But that movie is not bad. It is depressing. There is a difference. You're doing the thing where you're judging the movie on how you feel.
I mean, I could just go watch somebody execute puppies or something. I'm sure there's a way to artistically do that. It's still depressing as hell.
Let's go club some seals, see how it goes.
Yeah, like that seal. They show the people killing the seals.
Exactly, Tevin. One person, lots of love, tons. I mean, would have won a poll.
Hey, in my world, in the level of interaction that I have with people, one person is a lot of people. Like I talked to more people last night at the front door than I will talk to for the rest of the year put together.
Cranberry sauce is a more overrated thing than turkey. Turkey is better than cranberry sauce.
Yeah. Cranberry sauce.
When we're having the discussion whether it's okay for it to come out of the can, that means it's a poor dish.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I'm running up on a break in a minute. Let's do this first. Auburn did they officially announce Cohen yesterday or not? Or we just know he's going? He's obviously going, but did they officially announce him yet?
I have no idea, but he is their AD.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Stuff was signed on Saturday.
I'm sorry, Matt. I know you're having a hard day. Calm down.
Wow, he's struggling, isn't he?
What did he expect? The SEC to step in and tell someone they can't hire someone? That doesn't happen.
No.
Even with Hugh Freeze, had a school really wanted to hire Hugh Freeze, Sankey couldn't have stopped them.
No.
They weren't going to withhold their millions because they hired Hugh Freeze.
He could discourage it.
But at the end of the day...
But no, he's not going to forbid it. Are you going to forbid John Cohen from taking another job? What if John Cohen wanted the Auburn AD job? No, John, you can't. Why? Well, you're at Mississippi State.
Feels a little communist. Just saying. I
mean, people say, well, no other league would that happen. How do you know? You're telling me that nobody would ever leave Oregon State for USC? I don't know that that's the case.
When he underlines at this time, they're playing a football game on Saturday where one team sucks. Who cares?
Yeah, stop.
That's not altering the world of college athletics today.
He was supposed to wait a week so that the sensibilities of a football game at Scott Field. I mean, give me an effing break,
because it might be awkward to go the other AD box. Okay, fine.
Get out of your fifis, bud.
It's even possible they don't even announce him for a week just to not make him go to the stadium and be the Auburn AD on Saturday.
I mean, whatever.
Well, I'm saying, whatever.
Look, if that's going to upset him, he's already in trouble because it's going to get a little deeper than that. Just go to the game, put your orange polo on, and sit there, and it doesn't matter.
And sit there.
Sit there. Go to the game. When the game's over, leave.
And wherever you're going next, go there.
If you're smart, you'll have somebody packing your house here soon.
So here's my thing, and this will go into
something tells me Auburn will pay for him to have his house packed up.
So here's the deal. Ooh. Kyle, thanks for Super Chat. Ooh, is cranberry sauce a side or a condiment? I actually got to think about that for a minute. That's a good question.
Well, I'm sure not using it as a condiment, so.
Well, but is it? If it's a condiment, it gets higher marks than if it's a side. It's a crappy side. I'll give you more points if it's a condiment. Okay, it's November 1st. Sorry, stop. We've always talked about, and this is where I'm struggling a little bit. And we mentioned it yesterday. And again, this will go into the next segment, so I'll stop in a minute. But we talk about Auburn boosters running the joint. They had Alan Green who fought for his own coach and all these things, and they ran him out of town and all this stuff. So, yeah, I know.
That's the safest bet in the world. Yeah, that Christmas tree's not going
Cohen's
up
not
in
putting
Starkville.
his Christmas tree up in Starkville.
Damn right, Ginger. It's not happening. If his wife,
like Jimbo,
if his wife goes, "Hey, John," he's like, "No."
So, what is Auburn's angle for John Cohen? Because John's a smart guy. He's an incredibly smart guy. I like him for the most part. But he's pretty opinionated. He's pretty loud. He's very much someone that's not just a wallflower. Auburn boosters are not running over John Cohen. It's a weird match for me, given what we've always heard for what they are trying to do. If anything, John's one of the more, frankly, kind of straightforward and independent ADs that I know. So why?
It's my understanding the new president wanted him.
So does he have autonomy?
I mean, that's what they say.
Well, they always say that, but they ran the guy out last time because he had autonomy.
There's no question about that. Now, does he have autonomy to run a program if he hires who they want to hire? I don't know. He's about to, look, he wasn't going to have to be the guy that fired Bryan Harsin.
Well, of course, that would be stupid.
But what's today, the 1st?
Today's the 1st.
Auburn and Alabama play on the 26th, I think.
Sure.
On the morning of the 27th of November, he's on the clock. He's on the clock that morning because he's got to make a hire that either is who the boosters want or excites the boosters.
He will get 2 head coach hires most likely, but this one will dictate his tenure.
Yeah. Here's the deal. All jokes aside, his ass needs to be in Scott Field on Saturday because he needs to be on this someplace where agents and people are, where he can get on the phone with people and start talking about stuff because it's coming. This is a big moment for him. It's a bigger moment than he's ever had at Mississippi State.
He just took steps up into a classification that
there is an expectation at Auburn because of the amount of money that's sitting in an NIL war chest, because of what's happened with their program over the years, with what Nick Saban and Kirby Smart have done to their psyche. There is an expectation at Auburn that this is a home run hire. Does it mean it will be? No. But there is an expectation that there will be. And now John Cohen is the guy that is expected to deliver that.
John was also, I know he was kind of favorite son, alma mater, baseball, all that stuff. He was on the clock a little at State. They were souring on John a little bit there. He'd done a good job with baseball, but basketball's been a bit of a mess. Football's been fine.
At State?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
But it was starting to wear thin a little bit because it's all about perceptions and realities and whatnot. State has a ceiling that's not overly high. But they compare themselves to whatever's going on.
In this era of college football, I mean,
they're in trouble, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, if you're listening, I'm sorry. You probably take it out on me on some public forum. There's only one program in the league that is clearly worse.
Mm-hmm. So that's, I guess, my point, though. Perception is they are even with Ole Miss. And the situation in the last couple of years and what Lane has done has put pressure on Cohen's job security. Because Leach hasn't won the Egg Bowl, and they've been sort of mediocre and all this different stuff. When, if you step back, when they were both hired, it was you got these two dynamic guys that everybody kind of saw as this even footing in Starkville. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Leach and Kiffin starting the rise and whatever, and the way it's gone has impacted Cohen where he probably, Matt White, probably needed to shift and get, I mean, I don't know that he was, had Cohen messed up anything else, I think, frankly, the pressure would have been up and it would have been very untenable in Starkville. He also got out in some ways. Now, look, he fell upward, but
he fell forward.
He also probably did the thing to reset him that was needed right now.
Sure. I think his wife's from Birmingham. They got ties there. This attitude that he had no right to leave, give me a break.
Yeah, and I don't know it did not affect Cohen's job security, but I don't know if it even registered that Cohen helped Ole Miss to the level it did for baseball. I have no idea if that affected him with that fan base or not. I have no clue.
I don't know. He did his job.
He 100. Yeah. Jesus.
He's not the reason Ole Miss won the national championship. He fought for an SEC team. And you know what? I actually believe that he would have fought for any SEC team. Was there some ulterior motive? I don't know. Can't prove it.
But had Alabama been the one, he'd go, hey, they really should get in.
Yes.
He probably fought for Alabama anyway. They just didn't get in.
He probably did.
Kentucky. Hell, he coached there.
He almost assuredly did. He would have fought for South Carolina or whoever. That was his job. In the same way that if Keith Carter's on that committee and Mississippi State's on the bubble, it's Keith's job to fight for them. Yeah. You want more to make it because that's more money.
Yeah.
So. I mean, look, when you're in that deal, that is your job, is to fight for the league. If it ever got out that no, he didn't fight for you.
Yeah. Oh, you're
effed.
Mm-hmm.
No, your job is to fight for it. And they do. It's one of the reasons I defend Greg Sankey and stuff like that. If you think Greg Sankey doesn't fight for SEC schools, you're out of your mind. You're literally nuts. He wants them all to be healthy. John Cohen's job was to fight for Ole Miss in that spot, and he did it. And they got in. And the rest, you know the rest. Had they lost to Miami that first game and gotten eliminated in Coral Gables, nobody would have said anything about it, and he wouldn't have been like, well, they didn't belong in. No, he thought they belonged in because they're in the SEC and he fought for them. Mm-hmm. Probably in the same way that some cat from the ACC fought for NC State.
Yeah.
They couldn't take them both. Somebody had to.
Oh, actually, the ACC did not have a person on the committee, and they thought that made the difference.
And it probably did.
Yeah.
And had there been an ACC person on the committee
and not
an SEC, Ole Miss probably doesn't get in, and we're doing a different story. But whatever.
Yeah.
That part, to me, when people do that, I'm like, that's stupid. Like, really stupid.
Continue this conversation in a second. First, tell you about Prime Shrimp. PrimeShrimp.com. 6 different flavors available right there to your door. Throw them in the freezer when you're ready to eat. Fewer than 10 minutes, freezer to plate with Prime Shrimp. Use code MPW for $20 off your first order. They also have their 2-pound bags of individually frozen shrimps, just like what's in the grocery store, except a higher quality shrimp from the New Orleans-based brand. So whether it be the lemon cracked pepper, their newest offering, all the way back to their signature seasoning, it's my favorite. It's their most versatile. Goes with a little bit of everything. They also have their full meals in a bag. You throw those over pasta, veggies, rice, whatever you got, and it makes dinner for you and the family. So again, MPW is the code with PrimeShrimp.com.
Brought to you by Southern Traditions Farm. It's a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails. So much offered there. It's also a great venue for events and such. So get in touch with the people there at Southern Traditions Farm on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. I mentioned myperfectfranchise.net. Get in touch with those guys. It's Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate based out of Jackson, Mississippi. Services the entire state and all commercial asset classes such as industrial, retail, office, medical, and land. B.B. Mitchell with Pinpoint is the guy to go to. He sets himself apart with his ability to source off-market opportunities for his investor clients, which maximizes returns. Pinpoint takes pride in its attention to detail, professionalism, and hard work. For all your commercial real estate needs, give BB a call, 601-934-5008. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward, chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. Call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. And we're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. Told you yesterday about if you're looking for a job. Well, if your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, Service Specialists can help you too. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You've got nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call, 662-832-5138, or check out their new and improved website at servicespecialistltd.com. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors. She's serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync to your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery, everything you need when you need it with G&M. They also offer their med packs to individually package the medications for those who need that extra step, whether it be you or your parents or anyone that just needs to know every dose and what's in it at the specific time that they need to take it. Again, that's G&M, 662-236-2222. I got sent to me last night. I didn't see it when it was posted. Mike Leach was asked yesterday during his press conference, what is his pitch to a new AD? He says, quote, "It's a great place. It's not perfect. I'd definitely purge a couple, but not very many, which is less than most places." Probably shouldn't run your PR campaign, but
I respect the honesty.
He's not wrong, is he?
No.
I mean, that was a pretty, hey, here's what I think.
Ask the question, got an answer. Don't ask if you don't want to know.
That's better in a lot of places.
I'm just like, do I look fat in this? Do you really want the answer?
All right. So you mentioned it. Auburn trying to compile some NIL war chest. Not
trying to. They have.
So why not spend it to this point? Why are we stockpiling resources? Or when did it come about to raise it? Because a few months ago, Auburn was, quote, sort of behind in this race.
Well, they were behind in spending. They apparently were not behind in raising. They just weren't going to give it to him.
So really, they've been cutting his feet out from day one.
Yes. They executed one half of the coup. Everything we talked about is true.
Yeah, Leach was overcoming he had the flu last week. That's why he was coughing like crazy yesterday. He's still getting past the flu.
Gotcha. They wanted Gus gone. They were going to hire Kevin Steele. Alan Green said, "Nope, I'm hiring my guy." To which they said, "We don't like your guy." And when his guy didn't get off to a great start, and when Tank Bigsby stayed in bounds,
that was it.
That was it.
No matter what, frankly.
And at that point, they said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to let your guy wither on the vine, and we're going to let you die with him." And here they are in short order. They've sort of professionally died together. And now Alan Green's gone. Now Bryan Harsin's gone. They're going to let Carnell Williams, Cadillac Williams, I refer to him as Carnell because I knew him when he was a high school kid named Carnell, and Cadillac was his nickname, not his real name.
When did it become synonymous?
I guess during his playing days.
Okay. At Auburn?
I guess.
Okay.
Anyway, so here we are. Now it's John Cohen's the AD. They got a new president. And according to multiple people who would know, somewhere between $13 and $15 million just sitting there waiting to buy a roster. And the roster sucks. So how much roster does that buy? How much is that just a one-time fund? How far along are they in terms of, I don't know. Those are things I don't cover Auburn. I'm working on getting as much information as I can because I know people want to know what's going on and all that stuff. But the job's open. The Harsin news broke about 10 minutes before Lane Kiffin came into the room to do his press conference.
He said he did not know.
I'll take his word for it.
Well, he did not know they officially dropped the hammer in that hour.
Yeah, I don't think he knew until he was on his way into the room.
Right.
And I think that's what he meant. I asked him about it. I asked him about Harsin. I tried to ask the question as diplomatically as I could yesterday. I wanted to be fair.
It wasn't time for anything else.
It wasn't time for, hey, you're mentioned as the Auburn.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. But I just said, well, how do you handle when your name comes up in these things? Because obviously I knew his name would come up. Brandon Marcello with 24/7 Sports had already put out a tweet that Lane Kiffin's the guy they're focused on.
Feldman had him on his 3-person hot board.
Along with Deion Sanders and Hugh Freeze.
Correct.
And I understand that Matt Rule is also.
He might have been there too, actually. I may have forgotten the name.
Matt Rule is also involved.
Yeah.
So I asked Kiffin about it. You saw Kiffin's answer. I've had people ask, why doesn't Lane Kiffin just take his name out of it? Why would you, if something could be leverage, why would you give it up?
It's a little deeper than that. A couple different ways. Sure. If you have leverage, use it. That's A1. I mean, loyalty only goes so far as leverage and everything else. And I don't know, the bigger question to me is, when you take your name out, so you come out and go, I am not going to be the next head coach at Auburn, period. Okay. Cool.
Sure.
Well, Saban said that once and then did the other thing. The question is, does it actually even help? Because that's not going to make other coaches stop telling recruits that you're going to that school. The media that is going to report it one way or the other, and whether it's true or not, it's not a criticism of the media, is going to go, well, he has to say that right now. He's still in his season. Just let the season end. Everybody's going to find their disclaimer to not make that relevant. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that just completely shut everything up and you never heard it again from another recruit and you move on with your day and that is not a liability to your program, great. I don't think that's the world we live in. I think you're constantly going to still get it from the same damn places, so it doesn't matter.
Sure.
I don't think that tangibly changes your job over the next 6 weeks to go, I'm not going to do it. The people, they're just going to say you're lying or whatever. I mean, like, it's
There's just no reason to do it. No reason to say anything about it. And look, winning creates leverage. I mean,
there's a different leverage today than there could be in 4 weeks.
Sure.
11-1 has a different leverage than 8-4.
Sure.
I mean, frankly, the leverage conversation could be completely moot in a month. Could be.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. Hell.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't say they're winning or losing these last 3 football games. If they run them and Lane's 11-1, well, the leverage goes through the freaking stratosphere.
I mean, I think they're going 10-2, but they could go 8-4. They could go 11-1.
Sure.
I'd pick 10-2.
Sure.
I think they lose to Alabama, beat Arkansas, and beat State, but they could beat Alabama, lose to Arkansas. I don't know. They could lose to Alabama and lose to Arkansas. I don't know. So yeah, your point. The different levels of leverage at that point. But he's 18-3 in his last 21 regular season games.
He is. He pointed that out yesterday.
And he said he made a little jab at the end. Not a jab, just a little lame comment that.
Which one?
Let me find it because I thought it was a really interesting answer.
What was it? Which answer was it in?
I'm pulling it up. Okay.
Lane's video from yesterday in our YouTube feed. You can also read what he said, what he meant at the site at rebelgrove.com.
He was asked about. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. No, this is bad pod, but I want to get it right. He was asked about recruiting. How's recruiting going? He says, we're 18-3 in regular season games over 2 years. They've been at a lot of them, meaning the recruits. They've seen them on TV. That's a lot of wins and success. Usually, winning impacts recruiting. At least it used to a lot. We've had very good reception from guys. They're interested in coming into a program that is winning and having a lot of fun doing that. Hopefully, they'll overlook some other things.
Yeah, I don't know that I heard that yesterday. I think I had zoned out or something for that second. And it's where
I was in my mind getting prepared for, hey, you're going to ask this question, ask it right. And I wasn't really listening. Because had I heard that, I would have said, can you elaborate on other things? At which point, we're
probably not, but
going down the NIL trail.
And I guess that's my point, is where this thing comes to a head at some point, whether it be this year or 2 years or 4 years or 5 years or 10 years or just the sport in general. At some point, you just hit leverage ceilings where at any school, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell do you want me to do?
Well, I mean, here's how old's Lane?
47-ish, I don't know. Right?
Hey, Siri, how old is Lane Kiffin? I'll get a birth date on it.
47.
47 years old.
May 9th.
Okay. So he turns 48 in May. Correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So he'll be 48 when the next football season rolls around.
He will.
Still young. Really young. A lot of time left. As healthy as he looks right now, he's got lots of time to coach left if he wants to. So his question is this. Look, I'm told he likes it here. I'm told he has never really been more dialed in than he is right now. He's ingratiated himself into the community to a degree. I think to as much of a degree as he's comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Not about Oxford, just Lane's.
Anywhere.
Lane's a lot like me, kind of aloof, kind of socially careful, maybe the word. But he's got a daughter that's about to start school at Ole Miss. There's a lot of talk about Knox starting high school at Oxford, etc. He's comfortable. He's happy. He's winning. He's making a lot of money. Are there jobs out there that I think he covets? Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's any secret that Lane Kiffin covets the Alabama job. He and about 100 other people.
Sure.
I think from talking to people, I think there's an NFL interest. I don't think it's some itch. I hear people say he's got to scratch that itch. I don't think there's an itch. I don't think it's like, this is thing. No, he's interested in it.
It's the pinnacle of your profession, and you're interested in any job that comes about at the pinnacle of your profession.
Of course. Now, is after Matt Rule's failure, and that's what it was, failure. After
frankly, it hasn't gone well for a lot of guys.
Kingsbury, he's not exactly setting the world on fire in Arizona. I don't know that
for every Pete Carroll, there's 10 failures.
Yeah. So the NFL is not exactly lining up to go get hot college coaches. And most people think that if they went after a college coach right now, it'd be Lincoln Riley. But maybe it's Lane. I don't know. But as it pertains to Auburn, here's the thing. He's got to decide is that the job? Because the only way he's going to Auburn is for a massive contract. Now, Ole Miss, look, Lane's going to make more money next year than he's making this year, whether it's at Ole Miss or Auburn or with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Okay, he's making more money.
Sure.
I specifically didn't name an NFL team because I don't want people to go, but no, just in general, the NFL. He's going to make more money. So, I mean, how far can Ole Miss go financially and be financially responsible and keep Lane Kiffin? I don't know the answer to that. That's not my job. That's Keith Carter's job. That's the people in his department's job. They're the ones that have to study the books and make that decision and be responsible for the ramifications of that decision. I'm not. So beats me. But let's call it $10 million for kicks and giggles. You give him $10 million. The state only allows you to give him a 4-year deal. The way the foundation works, they can give him a 20-year deal. But it's going to get announced as a 4-year deal. Because legally, with the state, it's a 4-year deal. Now, if I were Keith Carter and I were whoever's the new AD at Mississippi State, I would go see if I couldn't get that thing fixed. That's hurting them.
And frankly, they don't want to. They think it has more positives than negatives.
Yeah. I think it's hurting them. But
here's the deal with that, though. It's only hurting you, and look, this may matter, but I was talking to you about it before the show starts. It only hurts you from literally a headline. It changes nothing tangibly.
Right.
So in some ways, while I completely get it, I also kind of look at it and go, hold on a minute. If you're a coach, you're leaving because the headline says 4 instead of 7? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of defies logic a little bit. And not saying it whatever, but because you can do auto rollovers that end up being the same damn thing. I mean, contractually, you can write all kind of crap into these things.
I mean, he can basically get a 7-year, $70 million deal at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is. Now,
because, look, I don't think school – maybe I'm wrong. I could easily be wrong, and maybe you're going to tell me I'm wrong in the next 4 seconds. With all the Mel Tucker and Jimbo Fisher stuff going on, even these 10 for 100s.
Well, that's where I was going.
Even these 10 for 100s, are they really going to have 100 guaranteed?
Well, that's where I was going.
Because nobody hardly has 100 guaranteed.
Because if I'm sitting in the room and Keith Carter's – I mean, I'm not. But if I'm sitting in the room at Ole Miss when they're having this conversation, I'm kind of in the back going, hey, just asking. What's happening at A&M right now where they want to fire their coach and they literally can't? Do we want to go there? Are we cool with that? Because that's the risk you take when you guarantee the amount of money that is getting guaranteed. Andy Staples wrote that story, a week ago?
Yeah, less than, but yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, this is crazy. And here we go, back into November, the carousel turns, and they're going to do it again. Well, the definition of insanity, but they're going to do it again. Coaches are going to get guaranteed money because this goofy-ass sport is so emotional to people. And it's so tied to things, or at least people think it is, and it probably is, tied to enrollment and to endowment and all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of indirect stuff, sure.
There's a lot of stuff. At the end of the day, it's kind of stupid, really, that it is, but it is. So, but if back to Kiffin, if you're Lane, the decision you have to make is Auburn the job? Is it the job? The roster is trash. You're going to have to rebuild another roster. Your 2 rivals, and you're judged against them, are 2 of the 3 best programs in college football today. Programs.
You don't like massive booster involvement, and you hardly can't find a place with more booster involvement.
You know, now, are the boosters at Auburn, if someone came in and started winning really big, are they capable of taking a back seat? Probably, because they want to win. Winning is intoxicating.
Sure.
Because a lot of the old guard here that didn't want Lane Kiffin are sure enjoying the winning right now.
Oh, sure.
So that's the question for me is not.
It is, and it's can you win long enough? Because what Auburn has shown people is as soon as you lose, no matter when that is, you're out.
Yeah.
There's no.
Well, that's why.
There's no, hey, let's turn it around.
So that's their question, right? Whether it's Lane Kiffin or whether it's Deion Sanders or whether it's Hugh Freeze or whoever, are you going to guarantee the kind of money that makes you get to a place where you can't afford to do it? Texas A&M cannot afford to fire Jimbo Fisher.
No, of course. And here's the deal. You talk about coveting. If you want the Alabama job, you can't take the Auburn job.
No.
That's it. You pick one or the other for your career at that point.
Yeah.
That's it.
Alabama's never hiring the Auburn.
You can go from Ole Miss to Alabama. You can't go from Auburn to Alabama.
Sure.
It's not doable.
And so the question he has here, obviously, is have I reached my ceiling here? Is this as high as I can go? Can you win? Now, look, I mean, I'm jumping around. I'm just kind of having thoughts as I go. When's the playoff starting? 24? We have one more year of
no later than 26, but let's just play it out.
Okay. Whatever. I mean, if there were a 12-team playoff right now, Ole Miss would be in phenomenal shape to get into the playoff.
Yes. And
if you get into the playoff, well, you're playing for the championship.
They would have a home game today if they were a playoff.
Yeah.
They wouldn't get a bye, but they'd have a home game. They would host Illinois,
which means you have an opportunity to play for a championship. Does that change the landscape? I don't know. These are things I don't know. Lane Kiffin doesn't sit around and talk to a lot of people, so I don't know. I mean, is he frustrated with some stuff here? Yes, but look, he'd be frustrated at Alabama with their NIL because it's not Texas A&M's NIL.
Like I said, yeah, there's part of it that just pushes and pushes and pushes unless it's absolutely number one. And even if it's number one, we're pushing to be that much higher. It's not even necessarily all a bad thing, but it's his personality. It's never good enough, no matter what it is. Right. And again, it's not a negative. It's just go.
Yesterday, he started a sentence where it was a glimpse into his personality. He started a sentence where if you had told me before the season 8-1, and he stopped himself. He was getting ready to say, I would have taken it.
Yeah, and he goes, obviously you want to be 9-0.
Yeah, and he stopped him. I mean, obviously you want to be 9-0.
But given all the things we were dealing with, we will.
But he never finished it. He never allowed himself to go, yeah, that's satisfactory.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing if I had dropped into Lane Kiffin, the football gods had dropped into Lane Kiffin's office in middle of August and said, hey, going to offer you 8-1 after 9 games. Deal or no deal? I'm guessing he wouldn't have said, no, I'm going to press my luck.
Yeah.
He'd have said deal.
Yeah. A couple things on that. We'll get to them in a second. First, tell you about Northeast Spark, NESPRC. Service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and much more. So again, to get the best internet in Lafayette County, also parts of Union and Pontotoc counties, 662-238-3159.
Next time you're in town, go visit Opa. It's right there on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, and more. 306 South Lamar, just south of the square in Oxford. Brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. I talked about this yesterday. I'm going to talk about it again today. The whole road to Boise thing. We are going to Boise. Probably going someplace else before that, making it a trip that will do some things from a marketing standpoint that's going to be cool. We sold it. We have a budget for it. So when I called John Edwards, I'm like, here's what we're trying to do. Here's my budget. Can you make this work? And he did. Not only that, made it right. I didn't have to do anything else. We didn't have to do anything other than like, yeah, I want to sit on the aisle or I want to sit on the window. That was it. Everything's done. He can do that for you too. Makes it so much easier. Get in touch with him, parameters, budget, and he'll make a special trip, one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Also brought to you by Pinnacle. Get in touch with the people at Pinnacle. They've got, based in Madison, Mississippi, they've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. We're brought to you by Layman's Fine Jewelry. Layman's at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. It's been serving the Oxford area for 3/4 of a century. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Layman's is the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at laymansfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. Also brought to you by my guy, Clay McNutt and ACS. They're in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell automation recognized system integrator. Get in touch with them at acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381.
Podcast also brought to you by Style Assembly. Shop styleassembly.com. It's right there off the square next to Blind Pig. It is a women's boutique that is ready to help you this fall. They can help you ladies or the ladies in your life with your fall needs, no matter the budget, size, or occasion. Style Assembly is here to help you assemble your style to celebrate the Rebs after wins or just in town for big weekends or as the seasons change. They're offering a big incentive to Rebel Grove subscribers, podcast listeners only, from now to the end of November. You can enter to win a $250 gift card to shop at Style Assembly. Just go in the store. That's all you have to do. Go in the store, ask for Kate. She's the owner, or a sales associate. Say you came to check out what they have to offer. There's no purchase necessary. They just want to get to know you, but to help you in the future with your styling and gifting needs. Men, head in. You can take care of Christmas. You can win the gift card as well. So sign up. They have a huge selection of Gooder sunglasses and more. So good. It's at shopstyleassembly.com. You can get all their social links off of that and head in. Win $250 in gift cards to Style Assembly. So here's the deal. The world of college football has changed so much with NIL and we talk about traditional powers change and evolve, and it's a money game. But what Lane has shown, and this is the root of it to me. I mean, Auburn has shown that it can win national titles. It's done it with a generational player in Cam Newton and a pretty poor coach in Gene Chizik. And Gus Malzahn was a quarter or two away from doing it with Nick Marshall and playing for the national title game.
Yeah.
In 2004, they were undefeated. There's lots of examples of
And
those.
Gus has proven to be a pretty good coach. Look at what he's doing at UCF.
I think Ole Miss is an unknown. It's where we've discussed on these hierarchies, where do you put jobs? How different are jobs? Auburn is nuts in a lot of ways. If you have some downturns, they turn on you. I mean, we saw with Harsin where he never had a chance. I mean, there's lots of stuff there that makes it unappealing to coaches and people in general. But with Ole Miss, I don't know, because what Lane has done is basically torn up the book. Had you told us when you and I both started this in 2008, 2009, or when I first started covering Ole Miss 2005 or whatever it was, that Ole Miss was going to go 18-3 in 20 regular season games, that didn't seem likely. That seemed almost impossible. You saw Hugh Freeze, who's also a good coach, go to back-to-back Access Bowls and be in the national conversation into November, while frankly being very inefficient with a pretty poor staff at times. I mean, that was not maxed out from a program standpoint at all. And now you look at Lane and what he's been able to do, and they've won 13 home games in a row or whatever they've done. I guess my point in saying this is, and Lane does have to make that decision, whether it be Auburn or whatever. I don't know. But what is Ole Miss's ceiling? And the answer is, I don't think anybody has a freaking idea. I think everybody's guessing because of the way college football has changed, and frankly, the way Ole Miss has just won football games. Because even Lane has not maximized efficiency all the way.
Mm-mm.
Now, doing that's very hard. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I don't know who does. Actually.
Sure. But my point is, there are definitely things that have been holes and failures and different things that would have pushed you into a different category. So I don't know. It's just, I guess my point in saying that is, I don't think it's as simple as, hey, Auburn's won a lot and Ole Miss hasn't. Like, that's not that's way too simplistic to what's going on.
Look, Lane Kiffin's not the only coach. Nick Saban's frustrated about NIL.
Yeah.
Why? Because, well, you get to a certain point with certain kids that it comes down to the highest bidder. And if you can't be the highest bidder, you don't get the kid. 10 years ago, you got the kid. Everybody makes fun of Saban and calls him an angry old man or whatever. He's exactly right. I mean, it's probably become something that nobody intended for it to become. The whole NIL thing, if you remember when it first got started, was not, hey, how big of a salary can you get? It was, hey, if they're selling your jersey, you should get a percentage of it.
Sure.
But it's become what it's become, and it's become pay for play is what it's become. And so, I mean, if you're Lane Kiffin, like, let's be real about what they're doing right now, okay? They're not only recruiting high school kids, they're in the tampering portal because everybody's in the tampering portal. I talked to somebody yesterday who's a player who's very much being tampered with. Okay, it just is life. They're in the tampering portal, and then their roster's being tampered.
Yeah, you're hitting both sides at once. Sure.
So you're having to make sure that you're getting a package together to keep your guys that are coveted, and you're having to be cognizant of what it's going to take to get other guys when they get into the portal on December the 5th.
Sure.
You have all that stuff going on. It's frustrating. I get it. Now, how specifically frustrated is he with Ole Miss's NIL efforts or lack thereof? I have absolutely zero idea. I don't have any clue. And I wouldn't want to take somebody's word for it. I want to hear it from him.
Sure.
And I don't know. I simply don't know. I don't know how far Ole Miss is away from being uber competitive. Like, how much do you have to get? He obviously was very cognizant of what Texas A&M did because he talked about it a lot last week. After the game, he kept talking about the best high school players that you can get, and the best class ever, and all of that. And so on one hand, it was snarky, and on the other hand, it was very cognizant of the talent that was on that field. How much did it really take to get those guys? I don't know. Was it really $25 million? I don't know. Auburn has raised $13 to $15 million. Is that for a one-time only? Is that per year? What will that buy? These are all questions that I don't know the answers to. What does Ole Miss have? I mean, William Liston comes on our board pretty much every day these days and makes updates about the Grove Collective is up to X number of members. And is that a good number? Is that a disappointing number? What is the max? What is the ceiling at Ole Miss? I don't know.
And maybe Walker and William would disagree with this. You know, look, should that number probably be higher for an SEC school that's 18-3? Sure. I mean, I think it's roughly 1,200. Doors says. I'll take his word for it. I know they're over 1,000. But I also know this: when we're talking about complete funding, Florida has shown this. Crowdsourcing is not the way to be the primary funding for these things. It takes corporate and bigger dollars, typically, and bigger numbers to get that done. Now, again, that's not discouraging anyone from crowdsourcing. That's not my point. That is a benefit, and you do the math, and if you have 10,000 of those giving $21 a month, that's a lot of damn money. That is not my point.
And that is still a new thing.
Yes.
The whole corporate thing. I'll give you an example at the risk of people jumping down my throat about it, but I have two kids who are up there, so I'm sort of familiar with some of the stuff that happens, and people talk about things. If you go to Northwest Arkansas, it's one of the booming areas of our country. A lot of people think it's the next Austin. I'm not saying it is. That's just something that people say. Real estate values are off the charts. You have all these companies that are moving there because of the proximity to Walmart and all of those things, right? If you go to Rogers, Springdale, Bentonville, Siloam Springs, they're all just booming. Okay? Sure. But all of those companies aren't jumping into the University of Arkansas NIL space.
Yeah.
Why? Because, well, if you jump into that one, is it going to hurt you with your clients who are based in Texas? Clients who are based in Oklahoma, clients who are based in Nevada. I think those are problems. You and I've seen this, right? We've had companies come to us, including one really big company that was super interested in doing it, and we would have helped them. And they just couldn't get past the fact, well, if we advertise on your podcast, will we lose Mississippi State customers?
Mm-hmm.
So can you raise the kind of NIL money corporate-wise at Ole Miss that you need? I don't know. Because I don't even know what that is.
And I guess I misspoke a little bit. Not even necessarily corporate, but just major gifts, the one-time gifts, the big gifts,
right.
the individuals who give a lot of money. And then again, you're fighting with yourself. I mean, Ole Miss has essentially, in some ways, or at least some segments of it, put a capital campaign on hold because you're just taking from Peter to pay Paul. It's all doing the same thing in a way. So, I mean, you can't build a stadium and go, hey, give to NIL. I mean, if Ole Miss has one limitation that is very real, it is just the number of big-time donors willing to give big-time dollars.
It's not a giant school.
Yeah.
It's not in a giant state. This is an impoverished state compared to a lot of its neighbors. There are probably the ceiling is probably lower than the ceiling at other places. I don't think that's a negative comment. Is it so low that you can't compete? Well, they're competing now. They're ranked 11th
Yeah,
in the country.
the question is more because look, here's the deal: is the ceiling somewhere that doesn't require maximizing at all those places? That's the better question for Ole Miss. Is that does this number that is achievable by 20 schools, is that enough? Even though 5 schools can go 10 times that number, but it doesn't matter. This is the number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is that number that makes it just okay, fine, whatever, this works? And can you get to that number? That's the question.
And then this won't be popular, what I'm about to say, because if I'm Ole Miss, I fight like mad to keep playing Kiffin as long as I can.
Oh, sure.
He's a great fit. He's phenomenal at marketing, at social media.
Keeps you in the national conversation
makes you
every
very relevant.
day.
But I cannot allow myself as a program to get to a place where it's like, well, if we don't have this guy, we have to shut it down. You can't go there. Or, well, if we lose this guy, we have to overcorrect and go get the most conservative, boring guy in the history of college football and put him in that seat. No. You do everything you can. It's the supermodel thing. You're dating a supermodel. You date her as long as you can. You're good to her. You don't let the headlines ever come out that the reason y'all broke up is because you didn't do enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because that makes you more attractive to other supermodels. And that's where you are.
Yeah, don't cut all your hair off and go date the exact opposite. That's not the answer.
No, you're dating a supermodel. Take care of her. Be nice to her. Don't cheat on her. Don't do something stupid. And hang on to her as long as you can. And if the day comes that she leaves you for a better-looking guy or who she perceives to be a better-looking guy, you're right there. You're in that.
Tip the cap and go for the next one.
Go for the next one. I mean, it's a stupid analogy, but it kind of rings true. And at some point, you do all you can do. And if I'm Ole Miss, I do literally all I can do. I take Auburn as a serious threat. Whether they are or aren't, I wouldn't allow myself to go down that road. If I'm Ole Miss, I take Auburn as a serious threat, and I go do everything I can to hang on to him. And then if next year somebody else is a serious threat, there comes a point where you've done all you can do.
Yeah.
But hey, if I'm Ole Miss, I hit that point. I hit that wall. I run slap into it where I'm up against it. And if that means that I can't do something extra with softball or with whatever, so be it.
So, okay, basis, how's OSU able to do it there by themselves? I mean, think of the money if Ole Miss and State were one university. I mean, it would be double. I mean, it's a whole different world. I mean, we talk about the guy that saved Ole Miss back in the 20s. I think it's Alfred Hume, frankly. I've researched it. But on the negative way, think if you made the decision to not open up the land-grant school and just make it all one university. I mean, it goes both ways.
Sure. But that's where it is. So you do all you can do. But the people that are frustrated that this is out there, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is the storyline's not going away until Auburn hires a coach. So that part of it,
frankly, it's something you probably should have gotten used to. It happens all the time. I mean, it's not.
I mean,
Lane is seen, again, right or wrong. Look, he might be the next Auburn coach. He might not be the Auburn coach. I have no freaking idea. But Lane is
as of today, Auburn doesn't know.
My point is,
Auburn is. Let me interrupt you real quick. Auburn is not as far down the road on this as people are reporting.
It's not like, oh well, the offer's coming tomorrow. And
I mean, I'm going to tell you, I'm not criticizing Marcelo, but that was clickbaity, and that was a little far down the road. What Feldman wrote today was a lot more nuanced.
Most coaching searches are not a straight line where the very first name that comes out of people's mouth is the guy that was hired in 6 weeks. They just usually aren't. That's not typically how that process works.
Right.
Not that it never happens, but that is not typically how that works. And frankly, Lane and Dion are such different. Like, you don't even really have a plan if you were just going, it's Lane or Dion. Like, that's two different. Like, you're just throwing darts at this point. But anyway.
The whole Deion Sanders thing. Wow.
I'm not, yeah.
Wow.
What I'm going to say here is Lane, and he mentions this yesterday. He said it. I don't know his interest, but whatever his interest is at 0% or 100%, he is seen nationally still as that loose cannon guy who jumps all over the place.
Yeah.
No matter what. So even beyond anything that is tangible and real here, he's always going to be the guy go, hey, Lane will come because Lane goes everywhere. He did this to Tennessee back in the day. That perception still exists. Yeah. And that perception still drives, maybe not this job, but a lot of times where his name just pops up for different reasons.
I will say this. I think Auburn, there are people at Auburn who have genuine interest in Lane Kiffin.
Sure.
There are people at Auburn who don't. That's a fact.
Well, it would be dumb if you didn't a little bit. He went 18-3 in his last 21 games, and he's in your division.
Your league. You've seen it. You know what it looks like. They want to be relevant. They want to be part of the national conversation. They are an afterthought right now, surrounded by two schools that are not afterthoughts. Georgia, this coming Saturday, Georgia's going to play a game in Athens. I think game day's there. Is that right?
I would assume, but I have no idea.
Every recruit in the Southeast is going to be in Athens. That game is going to be a monster TV ratings game. And then their other rival that's won, I'm trying not to do this hyperbolic. How many championships has Saban won? 6?
I don't even know. It's been that many.
Is it 6, 7, 5, whatever?
Yeah.
He's played in 9 title games, 10 title games. That guy, they're going to go play in another big primetime game at 6 o'clock in Baton Rouge, ranked number 6 in the country, with one loss, and the quarterback that's under center won the Heisman last year. And that's what you're up against in that state right now. Those two programs.
If we lived in a world where they did hire him, Auburn would have gotten 2 of its last 5 coaches from Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah. It's true. And there are people there who will argue that Tuberville was the last good one.
It's the last one they hired from a Power 5 job.
You know, and what is Auburn in the NIL era? Nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody has any idea.
Nobody knows. What is Alabama in the NIL era? What is post-Nick Saban?
Well, and look, if next year, because, again, we all do this, and I understand why we do it. Hey, A&M's just got so much talent, they're going to win. But if they don't win next year, there's going to be some coaches that step back and go, hey, maybe you didn't do anything to actually put a cohesive unit on the field and you caused your own problem. It's possible.
Sure.
I mean, because at some point, if you ain't winning, it doesn't really matter. So, I don't know. I mean,
there's a lot there, but people are going to say, why do y'all keep talking about this? Well, because it's out there.
It just happened yesterday.
But it's going to be a topic off and on. Look, next week when Ole Miss is playing Alabama, I'll do radio in Alabama because I know some people there, and when they say, hey, will you come on? I'll say yes. I'll begrudgingly do it.
Sure.
Every one of those interviews I'll be asked about Kiffin and Auburn.
No, 100%. Podcast brought to you in part by Johnson Hill Creamery, johnsonhillcreamery.com. Go to the website. It's a great place to go ahead and get your orders in, whether it be tailgating packages that serve 10, 20, or 40, depending on how many you need for the Alabama game next week. They also advertise their different cheese classes. They got one coming up in the Delta. They're going to do that at the Traveler Hotel in Clarksdale, December 6th from 6 to 8. You can purchase tickets at johnsonhillcreamery.com. It's a limited space, so get your tickets today. They make all their cheeses locally and in-house. Their charcuterie boards, their great condiments, and more. With the holiday season coming up, definitely a time to check them out, as you're going to get your trays, you're going to entertain people, and Johnson Hill Creamery can help you with that. So, again, that's johnsonhillcreamery.com, 662-419-9201.
Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch is used before while you drink. The overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. All natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Brought to you by Holcomb Portable Buildings, 7991 Highway 7 South in Holcomb, Mississippi. At Holcomb, they custom build your buildings to your specifications. However you want your carport, ATV or storage shed, barn, hunting cabin, or other buildings, Holcomb can accommodate you. You pick the color, the style, the windows, the doors. Holcomb makes it happen. In-house financing's available, free delivery and setup within 75 miles of Holcomb as well. Call 662-226-2233 or go to holcombbuildings.com. You can also find them on Facebook or Instagram at Holcomb Portable Buildings. Also brought to you by our friends at Solutions RX. I've been using some of their stuff for a while now, the prescription support, some vitamins and things. I feel better than I have felt in a long time. So you should try them as well. SolutionsRx.com. They're based in Mississippi. Their stuff is in some local independent pharmacies across the country, across the state. You can also just go to solutionsrx.com, promo code OEP at checkout. Get 10% off your first order. A-Stock Auctions is a Nashville-based online auction company with the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items at A-Stock start at just $1. Every item, $1. So where it starts. Shop now at astock.bid or download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. A-Stock Auctions has multiple locations around Nashville that offer local pickups, so don't miss out. Want it, bid it, win it. Also brought to you by Walk-Ons. Walk-On Sports Bistro puts everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Check them out in Oxford and Ridgeland today. We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429. And we're brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area in Ridgeland, Flowwood, collegecornerstore.com as well. Largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. And last but not least, brought to you by Dead Soxy. Go to deadsoxy.com, enter the promo code Rebel Grove, get 25% off the best socks you'll ever put on your feet.
Fairly busy day a little bit with some different things that we'll probably at least mention tomorrow. The college football playoff rankings come out tonight for the first time. I would assume Ole Miss is somewhere between 7 and 10 in those as a guess, based off, again, the factors that I read from Staples and just in general for what they've done with that spot. The NFL trade deadline is today as well, so we'll have whatever from that. Again, I think yesterday Roquan Smith was the only major name that moved, but
I think so.
There'll be some movement going into today, and then Ole Miss basketball has their exhibition tonight. The men's basketball team plays West Georgia, I think at the Wolves, at 6:30. Admission is free for all fans for that game if you would like to attend.
I'm going to go to the first half. I won't be there for the end, but I'll be there for the first half, and when I get back, if Kermit's thing is on the FTP, I'll put it up.
6 days away from their season opener. Why isn't the season opener November 7th? Is this a typo, or do they really open up at 8 o'clock?
It's my understanding.
Why?
TV?
Alcorn State, 8 o'clock next week, Monday night.
I'm thrilled.
Ooh, that's not ideal.
Be a day.
Not ideal.
It's going to be a long
because it's a Monday.
Day.
Oh, hell.
That's that deal where you just go to the pavilion at like 5 o'clock and just work.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I did not realize that was an 8 o'clock game. That sucks.
Yeah, that Tuesday morning is going to be a little unconscious.
It'll be the most unconscious morning you've ever had.
I've got her Tuesday mornings, I think, because I have a rain at 2 o'clock on Monday.
You're still good.
I mean, I woke up this morning at 3:30, laid there for like 30 minutes, and went, screw this. Got up.
Did you really?
Yeah, started working. Now, we did mention the fight yesterday. We mentioned the Ole Miss LSU women's soccer fight. I
have no greater details, so.
They both got red cards, right?
Oh, I would assume. I mean, that couldn't have been the first interaction of the day because that thing turned to 10 immediately.
Yeah. I mean, the referee in soccer games is as important as any person on the field.
To keep it.
He or she has to control. I've watched soccer games get on the cusp because they let too much stuff go. Got to break out that yellow card a little early sometimes. Just kind of send the message that, hey, nope, I'm gonna play soccer today. Not gonna have fights because there's a lot of talk happens on the soccer pitch. Carson gets in the car and tells me about all the talk. But to be honest, we're not going to spend a hell of a lot of time on college soccer and football season. Just not. And I've seen that from so many different angles that I can't precisely tell how it all came about, and there's got to be more to it. And I don't even know the rest of the schedule. They won that game in penalty shots. I don't know. Do they play today? When does
did they play yesterday? I mean,
don't know.
I would assume they played yesterday, but I don't know how it went. I never saw anything from it. Did they get rained out or something?
I don't know.
Quarterfinals noon, South Carolina.
Okay.
Today in Pensacola. So
I would assume that the girl that was involved in the fight, because she got a red card, will not play today.
Okay. Yeah. The 3 players were ejected. I don't know how many from each team, but that's what it says. Again, no idea.
It was.
Yeah. Noon, number 14, South Carolina. I think they won the SEC East, if I have that correct. In the quarterfinals here, Rebels and Gamecocks. So that is that today. Again, basketball tonight.
Yes, you call a soccer field a pitch,
Yes,
Grind. It's the
that's
pitch. Correct. You're on the pitch.
Yeah. It's a match.
It's a match.
Not a game. Fine, whatever. We'll figure it out. All right. RebelGrove.com in the meantime. More tomorrow as we'll be back and discuss. I don't know. Something will happen today. We'll talk about whatever that is as always. So I hope all of you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you then.